When a real crisis hits, do you have the few cheap items that can do 10 different jobs, or will you wish you had stocked them sooner? Most people prep the obvious things: flashlights, canned food, maybe a generator if they're lucky. But when a real crisis hits, it's the cheap, multifunctional items that save you. The tools that solve 10 problems at once, don't break when conditions get rough, and keep you going long after the expensive gear fails. And the truth is, most people don't own even half of them. In the next few minutes, you're going to see 10 low-cost survival items that patch leaks, build shelter, purify water, stabilize gear, create warmth, and keep your home running when everything else stops. Let's get into the list, starting with one of the most underestimated pieces of survival gear ever made. Starting with duct tape, one of the cheapest and most capable tools you can own. Yet, most people only think of it as something to fix a loose box or seal a package. In reality, it becomes a small survival system on its own. When the power goes out, duct tape solves a surprising range of problems you wouldn't expect. It can seal cracks around windows and doors to keep warm air inside, making a cold room far more bearable during a winter outage. It's also strong enough to reinforce damaged shoes or backpacks when you suddenly have to move with more weight than usual. Small clothing tears become a non-issue. A strip of tape keeps wind and moisture out until you can fix it properly. Longer strips can be twisted into makeshift cordage, giving you a quick way to tie down tarps or bundle gear without relying on proper rope. You can also wrap tool handles for extra grip, which makes a difference when you're working in cold or trying to hold on to wet metal. Duct tape even helps with safety in the dark. It keeps loose wires or cables secured so nobody trips while navigating emergency lighting. And if a window breaks during a storm, you can seal a sheet of plastic over it to create a simple water barrier that buys you precious time. During a multi-day winter outage in northern Idaho, one family used duct tape and a sheet of cheap painter's plastic to seal off their living room after a window cracked in freezing temperatures. It wasn't pretty, but it kept the space just warm enough to stay safe until the power returned. For a couple dollars, duct tape deserves far more survival value than most people ever expect. Zip ties are one of the most items people buy for a specific task and then forget about. But in any real emergency, they turn into one of the fastest, strongest, and most reliable ways to secure almost anything. They're cheap, lightweight, and take up almost no space, yet they solve a surprisingly number of problems when everything else starts failing. Zip ties really shine when you need fast, reliable control over your gear, shelter, or any loose equipment around you. They keep loose items on a backpack from rattling or falling out while you move, giving you a quieter and more secure setup when you're on the go. They're just as useful for quick shelter work, fastening tarps to poles, fences, or tree branches in bad weather without having to tie a single knot. They keep your home safer during a blackout by bundling loose wires and extension cords so nobody trips in the dark. They can even stand in for missing hardware, replacing a broken zipper pull, or reconnecting a loose shoe strap long enough to keep you moving. In tight situations, zip ties also allow you to attach tools to belts, packs, or mole loops, so the gear you need most is always within reach. Around the home or property, zip ties reinforce weak spots in fencing or gates when you need to harden an entry point quickly. In unfamiliar areas, color-coded ties can mark safe routes, dangerous paths, or locations you've already checked. A simple system that works even when visibility is poor. And when you need to control access, a single zip tie keeps drawers, cabinets, or supply bins closed tight, preventing kids or pets from getting into dangerous items during the chaos of a power outage. During a windstorm in rural Tennessee, a homeowner used nothing but zip ties and a tarp to secure a section of broken fence after a tree came down. Power was out, tools were buried under branches, and the fix took less than 2 minutes. Just long enough to keep the dog inside and the cold wind out until proper repairs were possible. For something that costs pennies, zip ties offer a level of speed and strength that's hard to match in a crisis. Contractor bags are another overlooked piece of survival gear. Even though they're cheap, durable, and capable of handling jobs that most people would never expect from a simple plastic bag, the heavy-duty material makes them far more than just garbage bags. They become insulation, shelter, water carriers, and protective layers when you need them the most. Contractor bags become priceless the moment the weather turns bad or the power goes out. With a few simple cuts, one bag becomes an instant rain poncho that keeps your whole upper body dry when you have nothing else available. Laid flat, it works as a waterproof ground sheet, lifting you off wet soil or cold concrete, and helping preserve body heat when temperatures drop. Stuffing a bag with leaves or spare clothing creates quick insulation, a trick that can turn a thin, uncomfortable sleeping setup into something noticeably warmer. When sanitation systems fail, lining a bucket with a contractor bag keeps waste sealed and manageable until you can dispose of it safely. They can also protect essential supplies. Wrapping firewood, tools, or electronics inside the heavy plastic shields them from rain, sleet, or snow far better than standard trash bags. Their toughness makes them ideal for collecting large amounts of rainwater or melting snow, giving you an emergency water source without relying on fragile containers. Placed over a broken window, they block wind, drafts, and flying debris, buying you time to make proper repairs. And if you ever need strong cordage, the plastic can be cut into thin, long strips and braided together into a surprisingly durable makeshift rope, far stronger than most people expect. During a severe thunderstorm in Kentucky, one family used a single contractor bag as a poncho, a ground barrier, and a gear cover while they were forced to wait out the worst of the weather in a detached shed. The bag prevented their clothes from becoming soaked, kept them off the wet floor, and protected their only flashlight from the rain. Small advantages make a big difference while the power was out for nearly 2 days. For just a few dollars, contractor bags give you a level of adaptability that most dedicated survival tools can't match. Bungee cords are one of those simple tools you never think about until you need them, and then suddenly nothing else can do the job as quickly. They're cheap, compact, and built for speed. Perfect for when you need to secure, carry, or stabilize something in seconds during an emergency. In a moving vehicle, they keep loose gear from shifting around when roads are rough or visibility is low. When a storm damages a roof or window, a tarp can be locked in place within seconds without tying a single knot. They also let you bundle firewood, tools, or other supplies together so you can carry more with less effort. Something that becomes important when you're making repeated trips in bad weather. A failing door latch is no problem. A single cord holds it particularly shut to keep pests and cold air out. For shelter building, bungee cords give tight tension lines that give tarps or plastic sheeting the strength to survive heavy wind. They're just as useful indoors during a blackout, where they can make it easy to hang lanterns, solar lights, or frequently used gear from trees, rafters, or pipes. If you're moving fast, a quick wrap around coolers, storage bins, or water containers keeps everything sealed and secure. And in a pinch, a strong bungee even works as a temporary resistance band for warm-ups or injury prevention stretches when you don't have usual equipment. During a sudden windstorm in Oklahoma, one homeowner used nothing but bungee cords and a tarp to stop rain from pouring into a cracked attic vent. The fix took less than a minute, stayed secure through the night, and prevented the entire ceiling from getting soaked during a long power outage. For just a few dollars, bungee cords give you fast, flexible control in situations where you need to secure your gear immediately. Quick break here. If you're finding this breakdown useful, hit like and subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel grow and reach more people who need this information. Alright, back to it. Paracord is one of those rare items that proves its value the moment normal gear starts failing. It's light enough to carry everywhere, and strong enough to handle real stress, and versatile enough to replace tools you don't have on hand. In fast-moving or bad weather conditions, it becomes the backbone of almost every quick fix you'll need, whether you're stabilizing equipment, securing shelter, or improvising on the spot. For shelter, Paracord makes everything easier. Tying tarps to trees, fences, or posts gives you fast protection from rain or cold. And properly tensioned guidelines keep tents and temporary structures stable through high winds. When gear starts falling apart, a simple length of cord can repair broken backpack straps, reinforce weak stitching, or even act as a temporary handle for buckets, bags, or containers with snapped grips. After storms or blackouts, it doubles as an improvised clothesline. Perfect for drying wet jackets, socks, or gloves, so they're usable again. And in vehicles, a quick tie-down prevents loose items from sliding or taking damage on rough roads. If you need more pulling strength, several strands braided together create a durable haul line for moving firewood, gear, or debris. And the inner threads unlock even finer tasks, sewing torn fabric, replacing broken shoelaces, or acting as makeshift fishing line when you have nothing else available. Short lengths can even mark trails or signal safe paths when visibility drops. During a sudden ice storm in Arkansas, a couple used paracord to secure a tarp over a leaking skylight, and another to anchor their generator's extension cable so it wouldn't snag or freeze in the wind. Those two simple fixes prevented water damage and kept their only power source running safely through the night. For something so small, light, and inexpensive, Paracord delivers a level of versatility almost nothing else in your kit can match. Aluminum foil is one of those everyday items that becomes surprisingly valuable the moment you lose power. Its ability to handle heat, block wind, and hold any shape you fold it into makes it far more versatile in a crisis than most people realize. Wrapped tightly around food, foil lets you cook directly on hot coals or near an open flame without needing pots or pans. A clean, efficient way to prepare meals when your kitchen isn't an option. It also works as a simple windscreen, protecting small flames or camp stoves from being blown out during stormy weather. Cold nights are another place where foil shines. By lining part of your shelter wall with a reflective layer, you can bounce heat back towards your body and capture warmth that would otherwise dissipate in the air. And when you need a clean surface, a folded sheet instantly becomes a makeshift tray or bowl for food, water, or medicine. It's just as useful for protecting your gear. Batteries, electronics, and small components can be wrapped in foil to shield them from moisture when your storage setup gets compromised by rain or flooding. Flattened into a shiny panel, it even doubles as a signal reflector to catch sunlight and bounce it toward rescuers or members of your group. Around the home, foil reinforces worn or damaged insulation around vents and pipes, slowing heat loss during a winter outage. And when soot-covered cookware, fire tools, or metal surfaces need cleaning, a balled-up piece of foil works as a tough scrubber that won't crumble apart. For something that costs just a few cents per sheet, aluminum foil delivers an incredible amount of practical value when things go wrong. Cotton bandanas are inexpensive, lightweight, and usually treated as nothing more than a fashion accessory. Until the grid goes down. Then, they suddenly become one of the most useful pieces of fabric you can carry. Because they're breathable, absorbent, and easy to wash, they fill dozens of small but important roles that add comfort, safety, and organization to any emergency setup. One of their most valuable uses is water pre-filtration. A bandana stretched over a container removes sediment and debris before boiling or disinfecting, which helps protect your main filter from clogging. Worn around the neck or head, it provides sun protection during long hours outdoors. In windy or smoky conditions, it works as a simple dust mask that makes breathing easier when the air turns gritty. They're also handy for quick first aid. Wrapped tightly, a bandana becomes a pressure bandage for small cuts or scrapes when medical supplies aren't close by. In the kitchen or around a campfire, it protects your hands from hot pot lids and metal handles. During heavy work, it absorbs sweat and keeps your grip secure. Beyond that, a bandana is excellent for organization. Small gear can be wrapped inside to prevent rattling, scratching, or getting lost in a pack. And if you choose a bright color, it doubles as a visibility marker on trails, fences, gates, or doorways when you need to guide people or signal your presence. During a wildfire-related blackout in Northern California, one family relied on cotton bandanas for nearly everything, filtering ash from their water containers, covering their faces while moving between buildings, and signaling neighbors from a distance when phones went down. A simple square of cloth made chaotic moments far more manageable. For just a few dollars, a cotton bandana delivers reliability, comfort, and practicality that's hard to match in any emergency kit. Bleach is one of the most underrated emergency tools you can store. Most people see it as a bathroom cleaner, but in a crisis, it becomes a critical resource for safe water, sanitation, and disease prevention. The key is knowing exactly how much to use, because with bleach, guessing is either ineffective or outright dangerous. It's the most important role in water purification. When filters clog or boiling isn't an option, the correct amount of unscented household bleach can make questionable water safe to drink. It's also essential for disinfecting countertops, tools, or food prep services after storms, floods, or outages where contamination becomes a real risk. Before collecting rainwater, a quick rinse with diluted bleach sanitizes buckets and containers so you're not introducing bacteria in your stored supply. After long blackouts, it helps treat small mold patches that form in damp corners. It cleans gear and equipment that came into contact with dirty floodwater, and it disinfects surfaces touched by rodents, something that becomes more common when homes cool down and food sources shift. Even drinking bottles benefit from it. A drop or two of mild bleach solution is enough to sanitize reusable water bottles when you're rotating supplies. This is where a dosage card becomes indispensable. A simple pocket-sized reference card removes all doubt. 8 drops of bleach for 1 gallon of clear water. 16 drops for cloudy water. It gives you the exact number you need when stress is high or the lighting is poor. During a multi-day boil water advisory in Louisiana, one family relied on nothing more than bleach and a laminated dosage card. They treated stored water, sanitized cooking surfaces, and cleaned containers after heavy rain contaminated the area. With stores closed and filters sold out, those basic supplies kept them safe until the system was restored. Bleach is powerful, and with the right knowledge, it becomes one of the safest and most reliable tools in your entire emergency kit. Candle stubs and tea lights seem insignificant, the kind of leftovers people toss in a drawer and forget, until the power goes out. In a blackout, they become one of the cheapest and most dependable sources of light and warmth you can rely on. They're lightweight, easy to store, and remarkably efficient at turning a tiny flame into real usable comfort. Placed on a stable surface, they provide steady, hands-free lighting for small rooms, hallways, or bathrooms when flashlights die or batteries run low. Grouping several teapots under an inverted clay pot creates a small radiant heater that can raise the temperature of a confined space by a few degrees, a simple trick that makes a cold night far more bearable. They're also useful for food and fire. A single candle can warm small portions, melt butter, or keep liquids from freezing inside metal cups or pans. As a fire starter, a candle stub burns long enough to dry damp tinder or light stubborn firewood, giving you far better chance than a quick burning match. Behind reflective surfaces like aluminum foil or mirrors, the flame becomes noticeably brighter without burning extra candles. Candles also play a role in troubleshooting. A small flame exposes airflow and drafts around windows or doors, helping you find weak spots when you're trying to insulate a room. And with a metal cup or tin placed over the flame, you can dry damp gear or wet matches well enough to use them again. For tracking time, tea lights are surprisingly reliable. Most burn for about 3 to 4 hours, giving you a simple way to measure how long you've been in the dark or when to rotate tasks during an extended outage. During a winter blackout in Vermont, families have used nothing but candle stubs and tea lights to warm small bathrooms, keep dishwater workable, and maintain steady light when their batteries gave out. Cheap, silent, and far more capable than they look, candle scraps and tea lights prove that even the smallest items can make a big difference when the lights go out. And the last item on this list is far from the least important: lighters. They're one of the simplest pieces of survival gear you can store, yet most households only keep 1 or 2, usually half empty and impossible to find when you actually need them. In an emergency, having a bulk supply turns firemaking from a stressful challenge into something you can rely on every single time. No fumbling with matches, no complicated fire tools, just instant flame on demand. They're essential for heat. A lighter ignites stoves, grills, and emergency heaters during outages when temperatures drop fast. Even in wet or windy conditions, you can shield the flame with your hand and get a fire going far more easily than with matches. For gear maintenance, the flame is just as useful. Melting frayed rope ends keeps cordage neat and prevents unraveling, while a brief pass through the flame sterilizes needles, tweezers, or small tools when you need improvised medical care. Lighters also help with quick repairs. Dripping melted plastic from a disposable bottle can seal tiny cracks or patch leaks in a pinch. Indoors, they provide instant ignition for tea lights, oil lamps, or improvised candles so you can maintain steady light through a long night. They even have diagnostic value. A flickering flame can reveal airflow or indicate a nearby gas leak without ever touching the source. And because lighters get lost, break, or run out of fuel at the worst possible moment, keeping a bulk supply means you always have redundancy when stress is high and visibility is low. During late fall outages in cold states like Colorado, many families have relied on nothing more than a box of cheap lighters to keep fires going through snowstorms, especially when matches become damp or unreliable. Their matches absorbed moisture and failed, but the lighters kept working, helping them heat food, dry clothes, and stay warm until the storm passed. Compact, inexpensive, and endlessly useful, a bulk pack of disposable lighters is one of the smartest, low-cost redundancies you can add to your emergency supplies. If you found this helpful, you'll get even more value inside my playlist, Essential Survival Knowledge. It's packed with practical, no-nonsense videos that level up your preparedness fast. And if you want to dive deeper, I've built other playlists covering everything from blackout readiness to bartering skills and smart, low-cost prepping upgrades. They're all on my channel page. Got other multifunctional items that deserve a spot on the list? Let me know in the comments below. We prepare best when we prepare together. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It helps this channel reach more people who want solid, practical preparedness information. Stay sharp, stay ready, and trust in your ability to handle whatever comes.